points, and I had never heard of it. So I'm like, that's wow, you know. So, and it was all about healing, you know. So I'm like, okay, so I need to go buy a book. I need to go, you know what I'm saying? I need to go. She had crystals, she had sage, she had, you know, and she was on YouTube. And so I went and bought this book, Essential Chakra Meditations, Awaken Your Healing Power with Meditations and Visualization. This is the book. So I went and bought the book, and I was all black. I couldn't see nothing. You know, I could not see anything. I closed my eyes and tried to meditate, and it was like dark. I was like, okay, so let's just see what it says. And then I think it was like the first chakra that caught my eye was when I started reading. The first chakra that they identified was your root chakra. And then because I had been in church, the affirmation was I am. And the location was the base of the spine, and the color was red. And red was always my color. Red and black um, was my colors back then. When somebody said, you know, what's your favorite color, I couldn't really tell them one. I'm like, I love red and I love black. But the affirmation for the root chakra was, I am God. I mean, I am. And referring back to the Bible, that's what God say. I am that I am. So I started like, okay, you know, I'm on to something. But far fetched, right? So, you know, but I knew I needed some balance. I knew that I was getting to a certain point in life of I would manifest everything I wanted. And then when I got it, I didn't want it anymore. So I started to reflect back on my childhood life and my younger adult life. And I said, you know, I remember times when I was maybe 20, 30, and I said, oh, I like that guy. He's sexy, you know. And I would I would get the guy, right? So I remember times when I used to say I want a nice house, you know, and I would get nice houses. But I would always walk away because after I got it, it was like I guess I didn't appreciate it the way the challenge was to get it, and I got it, so I completed the challenge. I always liked a challenge, so that was like an eye opener. So, like I said, my daughter was staying in this mobile home. I had purchased it; was brand new. You know, I got it, and it just wasn't what I wanted. So I told my daughter, I said, "Look, you can stay here. We can use it as a rental property. You can, or we, you know, you can stay here, or we can rent it out." And she was like, "Mom, if you're moving, I just don't want to deal with it. So I'm going to go on." So that's what we did. She got her place, and I listened to spirit. At that point, I was just in my clairvoyance. I was in my clairs. I was seeking clarity for, you know, what is it about when I get to a certain state or place in life, I shift back to lack, right? Or I get in and I'm like, I don't want it, and I'll be like, I'll just go here, and it's not what I just walked away from. So I was like beginning to feel like I just had this, not a curse, but this missing piece of, I guess, completion. Not really completion. It was just a missing piece of the puzzle of why I kept getting things that I wanted, and then I wasn't happy with those things. And I could look back, and I'm aware of it, that I'm doing this to myself. And I was like, okay. So I was like, let's try something different. So I gave up no, Spirit came and said, pack your car. I had a new car and a new house. And when I go back to the new car, it was like I asked for a white car, and in like 30 days I had a white car, a brand new 2020 car, and a brand new house. But I still was missing something. And I thought it was a man. I'm not gonna tell no lie. So I listened to Spirit. I got in my car and I drove, and I wanted to be around water. So um, I got a suite for a couple of days, and I stayed there, and it was nice, and it was right at the beach, and I was like, okay, so I want to stay here. So I stayed there for a couple of days, spent a couple $100, and I'm like, so what are we doing now? Just like that. What are we doing now? Because I'm aware that I'm getting guidance. I get in the car, check out, get in the car, and I'm riding, and it's like, go get a newspaper. So I go get the newspaper, and when I open the newspaper, there's a job in there, and it says um, hiring. It was like housekeeping, hiring, and sign on bonus. And so I was like, hey, I can clean. I've been cleaning a long time. I've been fixing up other stuff, other people's stuff all my life. Had never had a cleaning job because I had been in a factory for over 21 years. So I got the newspaper, and at first, um, I'm telling the lady, at this point I have a business license, um, and it was originally I was going to do sales, but I still am doing sales because I'm still selling myself, right? But I had done a couple of cleaning jobs, some nice cleaning jobs. Um, at that point, I think the biggest one I had did at that point was like $5,000 in 5 days. So I knew the money was out there. I just needed to be in alignment with it. So, make a long story short, I get the job, and it's in a hotel, and not really a hotel, but a motor lodge. It was like a little apartment set up. And I get it, and I'm making next to nothing. I mean, close to minimum wage. I think I was making maybe a little bit over minimum wage. But anyway, I convinced the lady to give me the job because she was like, "Nope, I'm not paying you what's on this application." And I was like, "You don't have to. I just need to be down here in this area." And she gave it to me. So I never went back to the mobile home. I hired somebody to go and clean out my house, and I gave them my storage keys, and they moved all my stuff. And I never went back, right? So I stayed in the town that I had just got the job in for. Remind you, I had packed clothes, so I was literally listening to the guidance. So I came and I stayed and I worked for a couple of months, and um, on 11/11 I did a 11/11 20. I did a all white all white sacred um, practice, and I think I want to say on 11/11 of 2020 we had a solar eclipse. I think so. We had it was something with the stars, something. So um, I don't know. I just know I sent my friend out and he went and bought me. He bought me what I told him to get, all white, everything. I got t-shirt, socks, and drawers. T-shirt, socks, and drawers. Yeah, and salt, because in my study at that time it was saying, you need to do spiritual baths. So I'm like, okay. So I did it, and I was like, okay. I don't know what I'm looking for, but I'm following directions. I'm being guided. So I stayed there for about another 30 days after I did the ceremony, and I went back home. Now Spirit's telling me go back to my hometown where I came from, but I didn't have a house, and I hadn't stayed with anybody in the state of North Carolina since I was 18 years old, as far other than me and my ex-husband and my boyfriend that I dated for a long time. So this made me going back home mean I was gonna have to stay in somebody else's house and sleep in the bed, a couch, or on the floor. And so I called my mom. I'm like, I'm coming home. I'm coming back. So I went back and I stayed with my mom. And remind you, I'm a foster child. If you know me, I'm a foster child. And my dad adopted me back, and I had never really lived with my mom other than like a year of my life at about 16. So it was going to be something new to me, but I knew I was doing what I was supposed to do because by that time I had bought my first deck of tarot cards, right? And my tarot cards kept saying, and I didn't know anything about tarot. I was just trying to heal at this point. I know I'm trying to heal from something. So I bought my first deck of tarot cards, and every day it would say forgiveness. And I was like, forgiveness? I've forgiven everybody. I'm like, forget my childhood trauma, whatever. I'm forgiven. My brother's gone. I got to forgive. My parents have already lost a child, so if I hadn't really forgave before, I really got to forgive now. That's why I was like trying to be strong. So I went back home, and it was a journey. So I'm staying at my mom's. We're not really getting along, and I'm like, I don't have anywhere to go. I don't have. At that point in your mind, you're thinking, I don't have this friend, and I have too much pride to go call this friend, and I had let a lot of friends go when I was in Georgia because I was like, nobody's coming to see me. I don't really have friends. So I'm trying to get comfortable without getting my autumn. Me and my mom start to kind of butt heads, and it was a very, very at that. It was very, very uncomfortable at that point. So I'm not in a relationship. I have an empty nest. My kids are grown. I don't know what to do. So low vibration kicks in. Well, why don't you just end it? You can't get it together. Why don't you just end it? And I'm like crying. I went and locked myself in the bathroom. I'm crying. I'm like having a war with myself. Do I not do this? What is it going to do to my kids? How is my mom going to receive losing two kids? And she's going to feel like it's her fault. But she's doing what she should, what she can do. She is letting me stay there, but I don't see that. I just see my lack. And my lack is making me feel like, you know what? Forget this. If this is what life's about, my brother's gone and shit, I'll join them. Ignorant, right? And as I'm in that bathroom, Somebody calls me. The phone ring. It's Messenger. And Messenger is the person on the other end of Messenger. I'm like looking at like, who the hell is this? And when I answered the Messenger, which was a not the face message but the voice, the person is saying, "Don't you do it." He says, "I'm sitting at my altar and your spirit just connected with my spirit, and I'm telling you, don't you do it." What the fuck? I'm like, who is this? And why are you calling me at this moment? Because I knew that I was in that bathroom by myself, and not even my mom knew where my mind was at, where my spirit was at, of saying, I gotta go. I'm not even selfish to the point. At first, I was like, one of us gotta go. And then I was like, no, I gotta go. Because, I'm the one with the problem. So that was the night. That was the night that I was in the awakening of we are all connected on a energy level. Not just we are all connected, but in the spiritual realm, on a vibrational level, we're all connected. On a quantum level, we're all connected. So at that point, I was different. I came out of the bathroom. I went in the room. And I think I kept it to myself for a little while. Yeah. Because I knew that people would think I was crazy if I told them that somebody in another country called me when I was in the bathroom considering suicide. Because for one, why would you be in the bathroom committing suicide? You're just going through something, but it ain't that bad. Other people's opinions. So at that point, I started to do a little more research. Right? So, a little more research was, I had called on God a lot during my low vibrational times. Crying, 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 crying. God, I need this bill paid. Can you please pay it for me? Please, if you let me pay this bill, I won't do it no more. Please don't let my lights get cut out. I had done it. And, it was times that it didn't work. I'm like, but if there is a God, why aren't you here for me? I remember those days like that were yesterday. So the connection with the guy on the other end of the phone let me know that there is a God, because someone had to get him this message, right? And it had probably been, let me see, I moved again in June, so it was probably like February that this happened. This war in this bathroom happened in about February. So I ended up getting the message. Oh, okay, you're finished here, right? You're finished here right now with your mom. Go to your daughter's house. So I pack up and I go to my daughter's house, which is still in my hometown. Stay with my daughter for a little while. We bump heads. If anybody know me and my daughter, we always bump heads with like two peas in a pod. And stay there for a couple months, and boom, I get the message again. It's time to go. I'm like, where am I going now? People gonna really think I'm crazy. You know what I'm saying? They really gonna think I'm crazy because here I am again, packing up and leaving, just like a little, here, go. So, I'm going somewhere with this, y'all. So at this point, I don't even have a car to drive myself wherever I'm going on this next journey. So in between time, I had contacted my manager back at the place where I came from, close to the water, because the water was calling me, and I was like, okay, can I have my job back? Can I have my job in a place? And she was like, sweetie, I don't have anything right now, but I'll let you know when I do. And I was working for a company at home, and I think I had applied for a higher position there, and it didn't come through. So I was like, okay. So I I'm at work one day, and she calls me and she says, you still want to come down? And I said, sure, yes I do, I want to come. But this time I don't have a car. I'll have to get somebody to drop me off. So you just let me know when the place is ready, and I'll start on it whatever day you tell me. So I had like $100 in my pocket, y'all, and I wanted to go a couple of hours away. So I'm like, who's gonna take me? So I called around. I got somebody to take me. I actually got my aunt to take me, and I paid her like $50. So I only had $50, right? And $50 is like getting in your car saying you're moving with